Time won't heal you, but consciously processing your emotions will. This is a mistake that a lot of people make, and no wonder, right? Consciously processing your emotions is incredibly uncomfortable, and even if you're able to stomach that discomfort, it's difficult to do. Like, you have to analyze everything surrounding a situation and all the emotions it brings up, and then you have to sit in those emotions, allow yourself to feel them, and not act on them, not do anything crazy like, planning unfortunate self-harm or finding ways to distract yourself from those emotions or punching a wall and breaking your hand. There are a lot of ways that people act on their emotions in unhealthy ways that they shouldn't. It's difficult for many people to feel an emotion and just sit in it without doing anything. But that is how you heal. You have to just sit in your emotions and allow them to be processed. Allow yourself to question them. Why do I feel this way? Why did this situation make me feel this way? Is this emotion perhaps something that has come up in the past as well by similar events? Did I get triggered? What triggered me? How can I avoid getting triggered in the future? Why did this upset me in the way that it did? These are the questions you must ask yourself to heal. But many people do not heal in a conscious way. They throw it all to time and expect to be healed. But it doesn't work like that. Sure, time can somewhat heal you, somewhat, not really. What usually happens when people say that time heals is that they allow new events and other things in their life to just kind of put some sediment layers over those emotions from the event that triggered them. So it's like burying dinosaur bones and expecting them to be gone because you buried them. They're still there. They're just hidden under the surface under all these layers of sediment. Like, you didn't get rid of them. They're there. And over time, when other events trigger you and whatnot, you can almost view that as like erosion, getting rid of all those layers on top of the dinosaur bones you buried, and now they're right back at the surface again. So even though you spent all this time shoving them down, they are now come back to the surface. All those layers of sediment have been blown away or washed away, and now those emotions that triggered you before are here again, right there with you in the present moment, even though you thought you healed from them because all this time has passed. This is why you should never trust time alone to heal you, because it won't. It really won't. All you're doing is distracting yourself if you just outsource healing to time. That's all you're doing. You're not healing at all. So if you truly want to heal, you have to do what I was saying earlier in this video. You have to consciously process everything. You have to sit in those uncomfortable emotions, allow them to move through you, realize that they're not harming you in any way, right? Like, if you don't act on your emotions, what do they do to you? Do they hurt you at all? No, right? They can't hurt you unless you act on them. Like, no amount of any crazy emotions on the planet can do anything to you unless you allow them to guide your actions. So if you just sit in them, even if it's uncomfortable, if you allow those emotions to flow through you, you'll be fine. You'll be safe. Sure, you may not feel great, but when you're healing, are you meant to feel great? Right? Like, that's not really how it works. And take it from me, guys. Like, the reason I wanted to make this video is because, well, for those of you who've been following me like the past week or so, you know that this hasn't exactly been an easy time for me, because last Monday, I dealt with basically quite a lot of things going on at once. One, of course, was, I made a video on it, the woman I told you guys about who I was having a fantastic time with. It was literally one of the most beautiful dating experiences I've had to this point in my life. And she basically decided to say, yo, Josh, you were great and all, but I'm going to go back to my ex and go back to my old routines because that's what's comfortable and familiar to me. And even though you were exciting and creating all this beauty, I'd rather go over here and do what I'm used to, even though it's not as good of an option. That's what she did. That hurt. That sucked. Because like I said, one of the most beautiful dating experiences in my life up to this point. And suddenly it was gone like that, like literally right after one of the best dates in my life as well, where we spent almost 12 hours together. So I'm still dealing with that. It's getting better, but it's, that happened a week and a day ago. It's still rather recent. And then on top of that, I was dealing with going through some arguments with my roommate because I finally decided to try being honest with him again. And I'm glad I did. Like, we had a few fights. We were, you know, wasn't the best thing. We were yelling at each other, and I normally try to control myself. And I was disappointed that I allowed myself to get worked up, and just all other things going on in my life made my resolve falter. And I even apologized to him. Even I do this so often, it's kind of crazy to me, but so often when I'm fighting with other people, I'll literally have a moment where I get like a helicopter perspective and I'm like, why are we doing this? This is stupid. Like, why are we letting these temporary emotions affect our relationship when we like each other, we're cool with each other, like we want to have a good relationship with each other? And I literally did that, and I like apologized to my roommate in the moment, said, I said some mean things because I was frustrated and mad and I didn't intend it in that way, and please like forgive me for that. And yeah, so I worked through that, but I was dealing with that literally the same day the woman told me that she decided to go back to her ex. So that day was just not fun. And then a few days prior to that, I was dealing with a situation at work where I basically felt like a black sheep, like I didn't belong, like I was the outcast on my team. And this was only with my LA team. I do have coworkers in Dallas that I get along with really well, but they're in Dallas. So when I go into the office, I don't see them. So it was with my LA coworkers, the people I actually see when I go into the office. And, they're not bad people, but I don't feel like I connect with them much. So it wasn't fun. It basically made me feel like I didn't belong, and it made me think, why am I even here? So I had that realization on like Thursday, the week before, all the craziness on that Monday. And then that Monday hit, and it was just like all these things going bad in my life at once. My job, my roommate situation, and then my love life, all falling apart simultaneously. And I'll be honest, like I lost it a bit that night. I was sitting in my car just feeling everything like, holy crap, this sucks. My life does not feel great. Like nothing's going right. There aren't any bright spots besides like my close relationships with my friends and family members. But that's it. But I was grateful to have that. Like, don't get me wrong, that was an important thing, and I'm glad I did recognize that I had that. But I was thinking otherwise, my life is just not how I want it to be. And I'll be honest, I was crying in my car. I just was not in a good place. I don't give a crap, I don't give a crap if any of you judge me as not being manly for that moment or whatever, but I had to process those emotions. It wasn't fun, but I figured, if I try to avoid them and ignore them, that's not going to help at all. All that does is make them, like I said earlier, it's like burying those dinosaur bones. They don't go away. So even though you're not feeling them in the moment and you feel good because you're shoving everything down, all it will take is future events that are similar to trigger you and bring all those emotions right back up to the surface. So when I was in my car, I was just letting everything flow through me, feeling like life sucked. And this is something I really wish I could teach other people. I've been trying to, because I honestly at times don't even know how I got to this point. I try to figure it out and I'm still not entirely sure, but there were moments, even when I was losing it, where I was reassuring myself, and it was awesome. I'm really grateful that I've gotten to this point in life, because even when I was thinking, nothing's good, life sucks, I still had this voice in the back of my mind, my own voice saying, you'll get through this. You always do. You'll be fine. You're safe right now. This sucks, but you'll get through it. Like, I really wish I could teach other people how to think in that way, because it's so powerful, like having your own back like that. Like, even when I'm in my darkest moments, I have that voice chiming in to help. And yeah, but basically my whole point here is that was not a fun night for me. That was literally a week and a day ago. So it was recent. But I allowed myself to process my emotions, to not try to let time heal me, because that's BS. That doesn't work. And I'm doing a lot better now because of that night. Like literally the day after that, so on Tuesday of last week, literally a week ago, I made a video on that whole dating experience and how it affected me. And a lot of you watched and even enjoyed that video. I wouldn't have been able to make that video if I hadn't gone through processing on Monday night, because it was still really soon. Like even now I'm kind of surprised I was able to make that video literally a day after it. It wasn't even fully a day after, right? Like it was less than 24 hours after it had happened. So yeah, but that shows the power of being able to process your emotions consciously. Like don't outsource your healing to time alone, because time cannot heal you. It just can't. All that really entails for most people is distraction and running away from their emotions by delving into vices like drinking or smoking or eating lots of sugary foods or watching the fun, naughty stuff online or throwing themselves out there into finding other people to rebound or even just to get distracted again. Like, that's not how you heal. You have to consciously process your emotions. You have to allow yourself to cry. You have to allow yourself to feel not so great, to be uncomfortable. But remind yourself that even in those moments, you are safe. You are fine. Nothing bad will happen to you. You're just allowing emotions to be felt and processed literally in your body. Like, don't act on them. That's the most important thing. When you're feeling down, do not act on it. Like, don't get in your car and drive off a cliff or anything like that. Do not do that. But just allow yourself to sit in those emotions without acting on them, and you'll be fine. So that's pretty much how you can heal. And I hope that by making this video and being vulnerable and potentially risking like the super, well, I would say manly, but they're not really as manly as they think. But like, there's a crowd of men who think you shouldn't cry. And by admitting that I did, well, hopefully they don't view me any differently. But even if they do, who gives two shites? Remember, it's okay to feel your emotions. It's okay to cry. It's okay to be angry. It's okay to feel anything. The important thing is not to act on them. Don't give two shites what other people think of you for it. It probably is best to do it in like a safe space, like in your car or in your room or somewhere where you're not going to be judged by other people. Because unfortunately, there are a lot of unhealed people out there who are deeply insecure, and they may not have the best view of you if they see you being emotional in front of them. But who cares? You're not doing it for them. Screw those people. They have a lot of work they need to do. So make sure you do this for you, because it's how you heal. It's how you get better over time. So make sure you really do set aside time to process how you feel about situations that have hurt you, situations that have caused trauma in your life. And above all, if you have the means to do so, please look into professional help if need be as well. Therapy is huge. Like, it really is one of the best routes to go. But you can, if need be, if that isn't an option for you, you can do this by yourself. Although it's always helpful to have people to reach out to. I mean, part of the reason why I'm doing so well right now is because I have reached out to all my friends recently, and I've been spending a lot of time with them, and they've really helped me process things and get through them. And their opinions, their advice have been super helpful to me. So yeah, you can get through it alone, but definitely reach out to the avenues of help from others if you can, and if you trust them enough to be vulnerable around them. But that's pretty much the gist of what I want to talk about in this video. I truly hope it's been helpful for you. And if you have any questions or any thoughts you'd like to leave, please do so in the comment section below. And I will see you guys in the next video. Arrivederci!